Kim.
Jen.
You're here. And this has been a long awaited conversation that I've wanted to have with you, because when I think of Kim Fitzpatrick, the co-owner and founder of Lumina, I get excited not just in what you're building, but the woman behind what you're building. You have been someone in my sight for a very long time. And so I'm just excited to pick your brain today and learn what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how it's going to really positively impact so many business owners. So welcome.
I love that. Thank you so much, Jen. This has honestly been, for me, this is such a gift to be able to spend this time with you. I love sitting down and podcasting with exceptional humans, and you are one of those that intrigue me and that inspire me. And I love conversations. So I'm excited, to just see where this all goes and evolves to.
Yeah, thank you. The feeling's mutual.
Yeah.
I want to know about Lumina. Let's just go.
Yeah.
And so you start this amazing new company and brand that is really supporting founders and business owners. Let's hear it. What is this amazing new brand you're building?
I love this. So Lumina Legacy was birthed from an idea. This happened about 4 years ago when I was really just trying to figure out, who am I and what's my next move, right? I was hot and heavy in the direct sales world. I loved it. I loved being a wellness leader in that space. I always loved being a coach. I feel like since I started my first career in senior living, I have always wanted to champion the quality of humans, right? For a long time, it was to champion the quality of life for all seniors in gerontology, in the field of gerontology. And that moved as I moved. And I realized that I had more to offer and to give. And that's when I moved kind of into the world of service even more, where I was coaching and I was leading and I was building community. And I've built, Jen, I've had the honor of helping over tens of thousands of people with their wellness journey and their leadership and their self-leadership and knowing who they are, that I don't have to be the hero. They're the hero. So that was beautiful and great. And, in that world, that was fun. But I was like, God, there was this pull for more, something that was mine. And then that was birthed my business called Legacy by Kim.
Yes.
So Lumina was birthed. It was so interesting because I just recently sort of closed the doors to Legacy by Kim.
Oh, have you?
I have.
Okay.
And Legacy by Kim was born through, I lost my mom when I was young, and she was very much into fashion. And I always loved headbands forever. I would be the soccer player that would be rolling up the tape that you put on the ankles and making headbands. I was constantly wearing headbands. It was my thing. And I was like, well, if I'm going to go into fashion, I knew I wanted to do my own thing. I was like, maybe I'll just start this headband company and I'll have this philanthropic way that I can give back to people that are living with cancer. We had a gift to headband program. We've donated thousands of headbands all over the world and beanies for people that are walking through cancer. We donated that. And that was really in honor of my mom. So legacy is very important to me. I literally have it tattooed on the left side of my body.
Do you?
So I was
what a great tattoo.
I do. Legacy. Legacy was always so important to me because it isn't what you necessarily leave to people. It's what you leave within people.
Beautiful.
So every headband had a mantra. It had a name. It had something that when you donned your band, you knew that you were a part of all of this. That moved to scrub caps. We did military beanies. We've been, I used to get messages from friends that had their kids at Sick Kids. And they're like, every nurse is wearing a Legacy headband, Kim. So that started the evolution of me figuring out founding a company, building a business. But it was the connections and the stories. And I knew that I always wanted to become a professional coach. That was really important to me. I don't know if this will relate to anyone listening, but I was told when I was a little girl that I wasn't smart enough to go to university and I wasn't able to do those things. And I was really put into, I can hear the emotion in my mouth or in my voice, right? It's like I was put into this box of what I couldn't do.
Wow.
So I set on my way to get I have more diplomas than anyone could count,
Right.
and
Makes
degrees
sense.
to show I'm smart.
Yeah.
Right. And I know that now. But I've always had this beautiful relationship with certification and designation. And when I knew that legacy, I had started to outgrow that. And I really wanted to step into podcasting. I wrote a journal called Be Her Now. We've sold thousands all over the world, which has been amazing. And that was the start to, okay, hold on. And that was 4 years ago when we published my journal. And that was really fun because it was me being able to coach my own methodologies and my own frameworks and really helped to start that. And then my mastermind started and all those things. So the path to Lumina Legacy was long. It's been years long. And I had this idea 3 years ago. And I remember talking to my friend Brad 4 years ago when I was in pursuit of my designation through the International Coaching Federation. I'm now a professionally certified coach, and I'm in pursuit of the Master Certified Coach.
Ooh, good.
So I'll beat that by the end of this year. And I said, I really want to build this coaching school. And I want to have the Avengers of coaches.
Yes.
And I'm wearing this little ring that's an Avengers ring.
Oh, I love that.
And I've been wearing it because that's what Lumina represents to me. It's an opportunity for me to be able to bring together amazing experts, professional coaches, and to be able to help people that want to become a professional coach to learn how to do that as per the International Coaching Federation. And that was really important to me because I've had a lot of coaches and I've had a lot of mentors and I've joined a lot of masterminds.
Yes.
And I wanted to create something that helped people to know that they're the answer and that there's beautiful rules and guidelines. But at the end of the day, we are a lighthouse. As a coach, you are a lighthouse. And I think a lot of times we can fall into the tugboat category where we want to be tug. Let me save you. Let me give you this $1 million framework that's theirs that won't work for someone else. I think that's a gift of yours. You're like, no, we're going to build your $1 million framework.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that, but right.
Yeah.
Versus it having to be about that other person. And I think that's where it really sparked. I know we can do more, and I wanted it for myself. I went through my own professionally trained coach through a coaching education institute. I loved it. It was amazing. I actually have my mentor coach who I believe raised me. I always tell her, Julie, you raised me. She's going to hear this. And she's actually one of the mentor coaches for our first cohort, our founding inaugural cohort. And because I want the best of the best to be able to have access to really learning how to just be able to sit in presence and awareness and hold space for someone and to be able to just listen and let someone find their answers.
Yes.
I think the world needs more of that.
Yes.
And that is where we birthed Lumina Legacy.
Oh, it's so perfect in terms of its evolution. And I'm just really honored to hear your journey because even the audacity to pivot when you have success, I think a lot of people assume we pivot when we're not successful, like something's not working. But I know you and I have talked about this. We didn't pivot because things weren't working. We pivoted because we were being called into something more. So I think that in itself is a powerful message. But then you and I both discussed being certified as a coach. And I too am ICF certified. Yeah. And I do believe that if we're going to be responsible for someone's life, someone's personal growth, someone's business, there is a level of expertise that is required. And the reason I went and got ICF accredited was because when I went through my divorce, my DMs just started to fill up with women who were unhappy in their marriage or wanted to go through a divorce and needed a shoulder. But I wasn't equipped to give advice. I only had my personal experience and I was walking through it. So I went to go get the tools and I'm so glad that I did. There's something really affirming. And also that higher education helps you look at this as a profession versus what I think has happened in the coaching industry. A lot of people got involved because they saw the money. And so the responsibility is being put back. What you're doing is saying, hey, you want to do this? Yeah. You can be excellent and grow something powerful, but be the leader behind it, that it withstands the test of time.
Absolutely. And it's so important to have these conversations. You know, I remember I was I had an amazing, and I built Lumina Legacy with my co-founder, Kyle Hossack. And there's a photo of us kind of high-fiving right before our first cohort. And I wrote in this tagline that got so much feedback beautifully, where it said, the world doesn't need more coaches. The world needs more professionally trained coaches. Yes. And I don't say that with ego or with any spite, because I was a coach for a long time without that designation and it was beautiful. Yeah. But the tools, like you said, that I've learned and the ability to know that it isn't about the coach, it's about the client is, I would say, the biggest game changer.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just am so happy you're doing this. So are you focused on coaches in general, or is anybody able to join Lumina Legacy?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're in build mode, which is incredible. So we are right now in our first inaugural cohort.
Ha.
I'm going to say whenever this ends up airing, but in Q1 of 2026. And I'm excited because this will be long content. And I can't wait in 10 years from now, Jen, to sit back down and be like, this is where
Imagine.
we are. But we are provisionally accredited. And this cohort is actually what's going to grant our school the accredited education in July. So it's really exciting. We're not only doing our level 1, so that's an associate certified coach. We're also at the same time, of course, because I'm so extra, we're also applied for level 2. Good. So we're also able to teach people how to be professional certified coaches. And that's when you can go and build your own programs or frameworks, etc. Maybe become ICF certified if that's something that you want to do with your own programs.
Right.
And that's really exciting. So that's happening. So that is for, I would say, people that, are looking, maybe they want to start a business in coaching, or they are already a coach and they want to have, just deepen that experience and have that credentialing behind them. ICF's been around for over 30 years. It's an incredible organization, and anyone can go and look at them up online. They're a beautiful place to join. You can become a member. You don't have to be certified in that. Right. I think it benefits people. So that's one area. And then the other side is we're building a leadership development program for business leaders. So it will be on leadership and legacy and business. My co-founder owns a marketing agency. He's been in business for 25 years. Wow. So it's really fun to blend business with and also just really knowing how to build a business. I think that's missing in the coaching world, how to also become, at least as a certified coach. I was in a school for a long time, almost 3 years. And I was ending up on some of our little huddles we'd have where we were doing mentor coaching. I'd be like, okay, so this is how I built this to make this profitable. And I was like, where's the business coaching? You know, so I do find it's coming for sure. Yeah. But again, like you said, it can be over marketed if it's coming from not necessarily the right place or positioning. So that's coming, which is really exciting. We are working in different corporations. So we do corporate coaching as well. So we've been working, with companies and helping them be able to, eventually we'll be able to put the coaching school in their own company and organization, and they'll be able to do coach the coach and things like that. So it's great. I still have my one-to-one clients, which I love. I still run international retreats. I love it. Like, we're going to Costa Rica.
I saw that.
And I'm with 21 women, and I'm like, it's my jam. So I'll always keep, and this is, this is interesting. And maybe this is helpful for anyone listening, but I remember when I worked in senior living and I was climbing my way up that ladder. And it was beautiful. And I climbed my way up that corporate ladder. I dabbled for, I think it was maybe 3 weeks as a VP interim, like helping. And I was like, I never want to do this again. I never want to have this much responsibility for what if the home burnt down? It was like no more sleeping. So I realized that quickly it wasn't for me, even though I know it's a beautiful opportunity for some people. For me, it wasn't that. And I found the further I climbed up the corporate ladder, the worse, the less I was able to impact. And I wasn't able to share my agenda or thoughts. I was following the plan, the quarterly plans or the yearly plans. And I respect that. But what I found was I was better to be able to help, whether it be leading or consulting, rather than being in there and working there. So I felt that's important to me. And part of that need to still stay with one foot in the ground. I have a tattoo of a thread and needle, and I shared this with you. It's like always staying connected to your thread, which is your core. And to me, community is core, and being foot on the ground. And I'm the little one with the clipboard, making sure everyone's great. I wanted to always be a camp counselor, and I live my camp counselor dreams. When I'm on retreats with these women, making sure that they're seen and heard and held and having fun and getting the experience they want. So it feels like the best of both worlds, where I don't feel like I have to ever be out of that. I get to be in it because transformation's where it's at.
Well, and you are like sort of boots to the ground, hearing, listening, observing, and that only that cross-pollinates. It benefits both.
Absolutely.
What's your biggest ick in the coaching industry?
I think my biggest ick is the coaches that just think they know it all and it's their way or their methodology, or they'll tell someone. Like, I've had experiences where I've had people come over into our masterminds or my coaching that have had different experiences with thought leaders in the coaching industry.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, this is a completely different experience. And that's not to negate what they offer, but what I do is completely different. And I think we can get into this world of like more. And, they can have, 500 people on a Zoom call, and that isn't coaching. That isn't it. So I think that's where I get the most ick is like, when you're having this, it's like this virality of it all, I feel like it takes out the actual communication, not for everyone, but at least for me, it really, I don't want to lose touch with people. I think that's really important. And I think when it's just these overpriced packages that don't have any connection with the actual coach coaching the person, it's assistants or videos or I just think, to me, that's not what I love. And that kind of doesn't align for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I do feel to choose coaching means that you really value relationship. You really value someone's outcome. You want to exceed expectations. Like there's this responsibility that I think a lot of coaches don't have. It's like, how little can I give and how much can I charge? I see it, and I've watched it because I've been a coach, and I know you have too. Before there was a coaching industry, we were doing this. And so we kind of fell into the industry and leading it. So good for us. But yet you see and observe, because there's a level of wisdom being in it a little longer than a lot of them have, where I've even heard them talk about becoming famous, like a fame. They're calling their programs fame. And I'm like, but it's just not about you. A coach, a true coach, is someone who has a heart for others.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best discernment and lens that someone can do when they're interviewing a coach, is like, do I feel genuinely seen?
Yeah.
Do I feel like they are absolutely in the deep end for my success? Or am I feeling sold to? Is it feeling very flowery? Just being careful. And again, it doesn't mean that that's wrong, because there's room for everybody. But I very much align with what you're saying. It's like, we can't be in this for our own purpose, and because I don't know how long you would last as a coach if it was all about you. It's certainly not the career where you can only think about yourself.
It's the opposite of that. Which is why you can see that transition where people will leave and not go back or ask for money back, and you see those types of things because it's not what was promised, you know. And it's important to be, I love the word discernment, and interview the coach that you want. Interview.
Yes.
What's in that. And because that gives them, the client, agency. And that's the most important part about coaching. I think that's what I love the most, is that it's our responsibility to help you have personal agency. I don't govern our conversations. They do. The client sets the agenda. The client sets the success and why that is so important to them. And then it's our responsibility to govern the conversation so it serves the client, not the coach.
Yes. Oh. So good. So good. And so important for people listening in, because like what you and I just said, I don't think people interview their coaches.
Right.
I think there's this level of pedestaling, especially with money marketing, hype marketing, where we put these people up on pedestals and assume that if we have proximity with them, somehow that means we're going to have the same success they've had. And I think there's this facade and illusion. And again, not to put like, I love when I see a woman succeeding, because it shows me what's possible. Yeah. I'm here for women to rise to their own occasion. So it's nothing to do with putting anybody down. It's just the integrity behind what we're doing. And I see people hiring mentors with, they haven't even met them, ask the questions, spending a lot of really like valuable money. It's their income, their family income, and being really disappointed. And I think a lot of that disappointment could be avoided if they actually interviewed and asked the right questions when approaching a coach.
I agree. It's really important you said that. So for example, it's like they interviewed me to our first cohort of 25 students. I had a call with each and every single one of them. Okay. That is the way. I really appreciate what you just said. I remember one time I was entering into a mastermind, and I got the sales team. And that was hard because I was in a really vulnerable place back. It was probably about 5 years ago, right after my husband had his cardiac arrest.
Oh dear.
And I was really needing, I didn't even know whether I was coming or going. And I think, and again, I was fine. I made the decision. I wanted community. This is good. But I was expecting the person that I clicked on her story to show up on that call. And there was a little bit of that, just not disappointment, but I wish I'd followed my intuition, because I probably could have really used a different, smaller container that was a lot more intimate and that I got more out of.
Right.
And that's another thing that's so important too, is I was searching for years, like, how do I build a mastermind, right? Like, how do I do this? And I got really inspired by one coach, and before I invested any money with him, he spent a Friday night and all day Saturday helping me get this beautiful concept off the ground.
Wow.
And this is the line he shared. So for anyone listening that's wanting to do something, he said, I observe people needlessly suffering with. And I had to fill the line in. And this was like 4 years ago when I was really building out. And I said, clarity. Clarity. People do, and I really believed that. Like, I know that I'm excellent helping people find clarity, really to deeply know themselves. And it's not about me, it's about them, and helping them be able to discover that. And I said, that's what it is. And he said, perfect. And this is before ChatGPT, okay? Or at least that I knew it existed. And he's like, you need to go write down 100 topics on it. And he's like, and text me when you're done. And I was like, this is gold information, what I'm telling you all right now. And I did that. And then I gathered all those topics. I put them sorted into categories. It was my first 12-week mastermind. I held a workshop and I sold the mastermind and I sold it out.
Of course you did.
And
I
was like,
clarity.
I had clarity. And that wasn't, and then of course I joined his mastermind.
Yes, of course.
But he didn't expect it. I didn't have to, but it was like, I was like, wow. Oh my gosh. And it's like, I often do discovery calls where they figure out what they need and then they don't ever come with me. And I'm so happy because that's what it's about.
Yes.
It's like, I think a lot of people create this facade that you need the coach. True coaching is you becoming that fully aligned self.
Yes.
You are whole and resourceful and knowledgeable. And we are partnering with people like you and I to become even more of that expression of thyself.
Yeah.
That's the magic in coaching.
It is. And you're also telling people through your like amazing storytelling is how someone initially treats you is a clue. It's not even the full thing, because a lot of people can treat you really, really well at the beginning. And then once you pay, it ends up being a bit of a disappointment. But most times we had a bit of a red flag, or there was something that just didn't feel right, but we didn't honor that feeling because we're caring more about a result than we are about really listening to our intuition. But what you're saying too is pay attention to how somebody treats you when you're inquiring. I remember hearing on the internet someone saying that, they don't spend time answering questions in the DMs, that if you don't click a link, you're not in your authority. And I said, myself, like, we're making people feel bad for inquiring and asking questions before they spend and invest in themselves. And where are we going to shame someone to think that they can't approach us and ask questions that are important to them? Like, when are the calls and how many people are in your mastermind and, what type of results can I expect? And that to me is an escape. That is escaping, the hard questions and being, held accountable and responsible for the outcomes you're giving to people. Would you agree?
I would agree with that. And I think it's powerful what you just shared. One thing, and I think there's places for ads and many chats and all those things, but the best responses are when I put my little face on a video and start responding back to them with like my actual face. And they're like, oh my God, you just responded right back to me. I'm like, yeah, because this is about service.
Yeah.
And I agree with you fully. And we can have teams and you can have people that do things and support you.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when someone invests in the coach, it's the coach's responsibility to show up and honor that. That's our code of ethics.
Yes.
Right. So that's really important. I really think it's important, that messaging of don't ever be above that. It's beautiful to have systems. I fully agree. I think there's absolutely opportunity for ads and funnels and different ways to communicate for sure. And I also think the heart and the service is where and why, and showing your story. Like, does the coach show who they are? And I think that's one thing, Jen, the thing I love so much about you is I met us in real life for the first time. And when I got to interview on the panel at the High Vibe Women, and you were exactly the exact same person in stories and in real life and vulnerable and powerful and kind and hugged me. And it was just like beautiful to see when someone matches the, I don't want to say persona, but sure, it's the persona, it's the brand. When you match the brand to the person, I believe that's really important and something to look for.
Yeah, it's priceless, really, because it's your reputation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I just was actually away and was teaching on personal branding. And that very thing you just said of like, it's not a performance. Because when we're performing, we're out of our bodies and we're trying to please or appease somebody, and it's becomes transactional. Everything just starts to get warped versus the humanity that is a part of service-based businesses in general. And when we can invite more of that in, but it's been alluded to that that's a weakness. You know, oh, her business must not be doing well if she has that much time in her DMs. No, actually, my business is fabulous. I just choose to continue to be the person I was to grow to this level. Because if I get to a point where I don't do those things anymore, the very things that built the reputation, this thing can slip away. It's not guaranteed. And I hear a lot of times, and I'm sure you do too, you just mentioned with sending your video, that's a next level for me, but I'm very video shy. This is a big deal for me.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'm video shy.
Oh my gosh, I never would thought. That's so good for you to share that. I
very
like feel
video
like
shy. This is very out of my comfort zone. But I do it because I'm missing humanity in the online space.
Yes.
And if you need to see the sincerity in me in order for you to understand not all are created that way or are in it for that reason, then so I need to get out of my comfort zone and do the very thing. But I was talking about this whole performance and how when we can simply be ourselves, empowered selves, leadership, someone who's giving life, pouring hope into others, how can success be anything but inevitable?
Well, it's the path to that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I love that you said, and this, it made me think about this when you were sharing it. I think that's also why I got my tattoo of the thread and the needle. And it's this, you said something really important, and it's the nuance of staying connected to the humanity versus the sale.
Yeah.
And there's a nuance to that. And it can get really easy to delegate and systemize and remove yourself from the humanity. But what I find happens when you are removed from actually serving at your highest and genius level, that's when it becomes not fun and unfulfilling, and the desperate energy starts coming because you're just like, why are sales leaving, or what's happening? When you are, and I'm very faith-filled, so it's like, I believe too, I always say, like, just get me out of my way.
Yes.
Because I'm here on assignment.
Yes.
And
it's so true.
This little, so when things sell out or cohorts are filled, and I remember saying to my dear friend, Marcia, I said, I wrote 25 on the board and I just left it. I was like, okay, we're going to have 22 to 25 students enroll for this first cohort. And this is going to be the group that helped me to help my dream, but it'll become their dream because they get to help govern what this next level of this new coach education could look like. And I left it 25. That was the number, and I left it. And I said to my friend Marcia in a weak moment, I hope I get 12, right? And I remember the last woman messaged me, and she's like, I really think I need to do this. I'm like, you'll be the 25th.
No.
And she's a dear friend of mine, and she is so meant for this. But this is why I'm sharing this. When you get out of the service, there's an energy. Selling is energy. Yeah. And it's so sexy. I love selling. I think there's power in that.
Yeah.
And that is another thing as business owners, if you have fallen out of love of what you're serving and your solution, there's the opportunity to be creative. Yeah. And go back to the drawing board of, like you just said, Jen, getting your ass in the DMs and connecting like a human. We have lost that.
We have.
There is a filter and a noise. We are not meant to be seeing what we see in social media. People are completely deconditioned, dissociated, because it's a lot. And there's trust that's been broken. So it is our responsibility to develop that know, like, and trust and model who we are. And I think modeling is really important too.
I do agree
with
that.
Modeling is really important too. Like I love when you post what you're doing here, amazing. You motivate me to go get cute and get fancy.
I love to get dressed.
Jen is dressed and you're still in your workout clothes at 3. So I'm like, channel my inner Jen. I'm like,
Oh,
go,
I love it.
go
I
put
love
it, go look cute, you know? So I just want to say that to you. Like it matters and it lands and it's you and it inspires me.
Thank you.
And I think that's important to see is like, what are we modeling?
Right.
And I think that's important.
Oh, it could squeeze your cheeks. Here's something we need to talk about that you kind of brought up that I think would be a juicy subject and something that actually in my current mastermind, we have spent a lot of time discussing, and that's around pricing. So pricing has just been like the wild, wild west for coaches online specifically. And I share this openly because I'm happy to, that every one of my mentors say my prices are way too low. Everybody. Like it's the number one thing they want to challenge me on is like, lift your prices. And I have my own take on prices that I guess it depends on who you're serving. But I do think a lot of the pricing is based on how much can I charge? Like it's pushing that limit. And I'm curious to know what your stand is, the coaches you're having in Illumina Legacy. What conversations are they bringing up? What are you saying to them in terms of pricing?
Well, it's interesting you say this. So a few things. So a lot of the women that are enrolled in this first cohort, they're coming with decades of experience.
Right.
So they are not just off the street, I want to become a coach. And that does matter, right? When you're investing in something, you're also investing in your breadth of experience. And what you've invested in and all of those things. So I think that's important. I think that pricing is really, really important for what you think you can hold. And the service that you deliver. I think it's actually a relationship.
Yes.
And I am the same way. It's like, I think it's really important to say, like, does this feel good in my body? Does this feel responsible? Because responsibility is a privilege, and holding somebody else's future is a huge responsibility, and it's a privilege. So what will that look like? And I think that's always where I come back to with my pricing. You know, I was doing a live workshop and for one of my clients who I feel like, and this is actually another really good indication of a community that is built in strength and trust, is when women stay in your ecosystem.
Yes.
I need to say that.
Yes.
So I have, and I remember, so I sent I had one of my, she's incredible what she's done with her business, and I'm so proud of her. And I remember when she's like, if I can just make $40,000, you know, in this launch, you know, and this was over like a 4-month period. And now she'll message me like, I just did that in a week. And I'm like, I know. But it's like, it was just, I remember that first conversation. Anyway, so she emailed me. She's like, I want you to do a workshop for me. This is how many people there are, you know, and I was like, you know, a couple $1,000s. Like I was like, yep, here's my fee. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to create a crazy, amazing workbook. I want to like basically feel like belly to belly with these women. And I want to do this amazing. And I was like, is that in my head? I was like, oh my gosh, is that egregious? Is that too much money? And then I was like, no, this is kind of perfect. It feels right to me.
Right.
And sure enough, back in my inbox tomorrow, she's like, I can't wait. This is perfect. Let me know if I can pay you closer to the event. And it was just like, what feels great to me. So I do sliding scales. It's different within Illumina Legacy because that is going to be an ICF accredited coach education where it's like a university. It's a totally different ballgame. But I think when it's personal coaching or mastermind coaching, it's always important to think, can you hold that amount? It's my favorite thing to say. Can you hold that?
Yeah.
Can you say it's $3,000 for this course or this mastermind, or it's $5,000? And, you know, I remember really being like, no, this is what it is. And as soon as I felt belief in that, because I knew that it was built on transformation and potential and connection and leaving people better than when you found them, it's priceless.
It is. It is. And that whole thing you just said is the gold and the wisdom. Can you hold it? And hold it to a point that you're almost superseding expectations.
Yes.
Because I think people think, oh, if I charge more, I make more. Well, also when you charge more, people have higher expectations. So they should. And for me, that's like, can you hold that higher level of expectation? And if the answer is yes, because you have the experience and the portfolio and you believe in yourself, you know what you bring to the table, then that's your answer.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think this is something so important too, because I also lived in the world where I had lower transactions, right? I was in direct sales. It was easy. I was like, oh, I had a harder time selling a $200 pack to someone who then required half my kidney for support versus someone investing $15K in my coaching, for example, or whatever that was.
Yes.
And it's like, that's the difference. So you will find those ideal clients and clients that are ready for true transformation. I would say they have to know that's an investment.
Yes.
I would be worried if a coach was like, oh, I'll charge you this, and it was all flippant or insecure.
Absolutely.
I would actually feel like it's an investment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period. So I think that's important to note too.
Yeah, I agree. I think everybody should be stretched.
Yes.
So they're stretched and they show up and they bring their best, and you're stretched to show up and bring your best.
Yeah.
Like that to me is just like the sweet spot. Okay, so the other thing I'm really just so excited to talk to you about is holding space. So you mentioned this at the beginning of the conversation. I believe this is just such a high valued characteristic of a great coach is holding space. What does that mean?
So two things. And this is why I love the ICF, because it's actually a core competency, right? Is maintaining presence and evoking awareness. And I mean, I could list all of them because I think all of them help to hold space. But you might have a client that comes to you that is trying to navigate life. And often our ego self can want to, or maybe you're a fixer or a rescuer, and you want to take pain away. So you think it's coming from this beautiful place. But what happens when we can give space to someone that might be even if they're not in a hard space and they're actually just on the cusp of their next expansion, trying to figure that out, when we implant or imprint our thoughts and opinions, their opinions take that second seat. So the ability to hold space is to ask better questions. It's to sit in silence, wait 15 seconds before you respond, because chances are they're going to say one more thing.
Yeah.
And that's what they really want to focus on.
Yeah.
So there's a nuance. It's really a dance, of like, what's too much space that's uncomfortable and what someone might need. The longest, I did some work with Toyota back this summer with a dear friend. She was rolling out her ICF program in there, and it was really incredible. And Chris, one of the facilitators, he said, the longest time I held space for, and the gentleman was in the room.
Wow.
His coachee was in the room. This is in the corporate setting, but he said it was 48 minutes.
Whoa.
And they sat, and he didn't, he just sat and he held it. He didn't perform. It gave him a little bit of reassurance, but at the end of those minutes, the person that was the client broke down, and he's like, "Okay, here it all is."
Yeah.
And it was the ability that he didn't try to fill the space or fix it or let's cancel the session or you're not prepared. It was the ability to now, I'm not saying you have to hold space for 48 minutes. I don't know. I could do that. I'd be like,
I would be very uncomfortable.
I'm sweating. Okay, but that's not about me.
No.
And that's when you remember, hold on. Oh, what is that? And then that's really what I love about coaching is because coaching is about mastering yourself. And when you master yourself, you don't need to fix others. You know that they have that ability, but it's our job, and I think I'm excellent at this, is pulling out just what they need, their essence. They know it. So you hold the space so their brilliance can come out, and you mirror that back. It's a totally different experience.
And I would say one of the things that I am sure you're excellent at is seeing people.
Mm.
And I do believe that's a God-given gift. I don't know if everybody has that. I almost think it's a talent, to be quite honest with you. Sure, we can see people and say hi, but truly see somebody with these fresh set of eyes and just be so curious and to pull out the gold in someone is such an incredible trait.
And I think it is a gift, but I think it's also something where we're in a world right now that people have the attention span of a goldfish.
Yeah.
It's 8 seconds. So to be fully seen, and I will agree, I have been told that many times. It's like, I think you're in my eyeballs, right into my soul. But I haven't always been like this. I had to learn how to be fully in my body. I spent many years dissociated from my body, from childhood trauma and things I've endured. And, you know, we all have our stories, but the greatest gift for me to be seen was I had to see myself. Yeah. And this is a little thing I do every morning for 3 minutes when I brush my teeth is I look myself eyeball to eyeball and I tell myself that I love myself 3 times. And that anything that I want to create is available if I'm willing to just keep going. And it's that for me, just the ability to be able to see myself. And that's why some coaches, you can only ever see or meet someone the level that you've met yourself.
Yes.
And I have met myself on the deepest, darkest floors, Jen.
Yeah.
You know, I literally like gave my husband CPR for 8 minutes. And I pretty much negotiated my entire life in those 8 minutes. So I've seen death. I've held death. I was born out of a situation where my mom died. And I had to figure out who I was. And I had to know I was worth being seen to be able to see that gift in others. And I think it starts with you.
Sure does. You're a beautiful soul.
Thank you for that.
You know, it's, I think what we're modeling in this conversation is actually a lesson in itself of holding space and inquiring and listening and seeing. I think sometimes those things are even missed when we're watching a podcast, you know, 2 women coming together and just celebrating one another and being there for one another and wanting to pull out that gold.
Yeah.
And so thank you for that and being that with me.
Appreciate that.
What do you see? Maybe not even what you see, what do you hope for in the coaching industry? You're being a leader, blazing a trail. So what's the big vision?
I love that. I mean, for me, the big vision is that more coaches are really trained how to love themselves. I think if we can all love ourselves, then we can do more and do better. I think when you know better, you do better. And the better it gets, right? I'm just going to put out all the Abraham Hicks, but it's like really is about, that's the vision, is helping people to really understand that when we can move our egos out of the way, we can really bring our true essence. And that's it. I mean, I really do have that goal that Lumina Legacy is a global, well-known institute where our goal is to have a cohort in the UK in January 2027 and in Australia.
Yay.
And we want to go global and we need to figure out what that looks like. But I really do want our frameworks and our models. Like we've had students be with us for 3 weeks and they said they've already changed everything in their coaching. And it has been, and I'm talking people have gone through different courses and different things. And this has pulled them back to who they are, which has made them a better coach. And that's what my vision is that everyone's Lumina.
That's amazing.
Maybe that sounds crazy, but but it's like there's this, if you know that you're the lighthouse, then you can do beautiful things. You just get to stand steady and shine your light and the right people will find you.
Yeah.
Stop being a tugboat.
No, it's so
exhausting.
True. It is exhausting.
And no one learns the lesson when you're just tugging everyone along.
No. And it creates a lot of just dynamics that I think can be avoided. So I feel like asking this to you. I am seeing people, and I even have people in my world that are putting the coaching industry down while wanting to build a coaching business. It's so bizarre to me. I'm really confused by it. because I do think that there's lots of things within the industry we need to fix, tweak, be better at. So I'm here, but we can do that in a really loving, abundant way without calling it the new MLM. Coaching industry is full of takers, like, and then at the same time they're like, come buy my mastermind. I'm very confused. I'm like, I don't understand. You basically told everybody that they shouldn't trust the industry that you're standing in and then asking them to invest in you. But what would you say to those people? Because you are blazing this trail. You have this big vision. You want it to be global. And there are coaches that are fragile, still like just starting their business, and they're witnessing these leaders, these people who have been in the industry say these things, and it's breaking their belief in the industry. And it breaks my heart because it's such a powerful industry and it's not going anywhere.
No.
So what would you say to these people who are stomping on it and at the same time want that to be the thing that creates a beautiful life for them?
I think two things. So I always wonder, where's that coming from and what hurt you?
Yes.
What was it that makes it a better way? I mean, you see there's so many people that can shit on any industry.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of compassion. I also feel, to me, it's like, wow, that is an aggressive marketing stance.
Yes.
And I think it doesn't align for me. And I remember actually I was at a women's event. I was leading at a corporate. I speak a lot and keynote a lot. So I was doing a workshop, and I remember someone came up to me, and she's an executive. Oh, I'll never forget this. She's like, so judgy, right? She's like, so what do you do? I'm like, well, I'm a coach, and I'm actually building a coaching institution. Oh, you're just going to have a little army, are you? I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know what to say to her. I was just like, no, because this is through the International Coaching Federation, and actually no. But I just stopped explaining.
Right.
And here's what I mean by that. You will never be the right person for everyone, and your model will never be the right person for everyone. And people that are squashing the industry, I would say, are ill-informed, or they're just really living in scarcity.
Yeah.
And they're just scared of what's coming, or they're scared of the people that are heart postured and not doing, not running all the things. And so to me, it's like, I've seen all that. Like, they live in their own little world of this bubble of whether it be hate or misfortune or frustration. I'll tell you this, energy or money will be very, like, it doesn't go there.
No.
Money is energetic. Everything is energetic. So when you are creating something in negativity, that's what will come back to you.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd say. I'd just say, like, separate yourself, figure out. And then for the people that are listening to those messages, go far and wide. Like, I stay so far out of any of those columns and tabloids and all the things of, like, it is none of my business what other people think about me. It is my business of how I serve.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think at the end of the day, you just have to really know that. And I don't really let it affect me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, that's your opinion, and you're also selling a course. So it just, to me, I'm like, I hope people can see the wool that's being pulled over your eyes, that you're now this superior person. I wouldn't do that, but it's just like, I would be honest. It's just like when I see fitness influencers shaming other people, shaming other things, or the peptide world or whatever. Like, I'm just like, really? Like, are you going to go die on this hill? Why don't you focus on what you do really well?
Yes. Amen.
Like, that's it. Go focus on what you do well, and you will soar. But if you have to knock other people out to get to your castle, I don't want to be any part of it. Like, put me in the moat.
Yeah, you don't have to put anybody down to build yourself up. Absolutely.
Never.
Like, amen. And the other thing that kind of came up for me when you were saying that is also, who are you attracting? So what you're going to attract are all the people who are angry at the low hanging fruit, I think is what they call it. And although it's probably not a nice term, but and people who are angry at the industry because they're like, yeah, me too. So now you're filling your rooms with they're
doing the same thing.
It's just perpetuating, and they're not going to like what you're putting down because you attracted the very people who are putting down the industry. I just agree. And I firmly believe we always get to be the evidence. We get to be the evidence. We get to be the solution.
Yeah.
So if the industry feels convoluted, full of all these things, or we don't align with some of these things, we can be the example of what we want to bring forward in the world. And that comes through our consistency, our messaging, the way we treat people, the way we treat non-paying people,
Yes.
the way we treat clients when they decide to
Yeah.
go on their
Yes.
way. Like, do you just leave them? Do you dump them? Do you ghost them? Like, the whole thing matters. And really what I've learned through this conversation with you is that coaching is a responsibility. And if you're not up for the responsibility, and you don't have a heart for humans, and you don't want to make this world a better place, and you don't want to have, moments where you're kind of putting people sort of ahead. And I don't mean that you're putting yourself below, but that sometimes you are like, there, it just is in the coaching industry. There's sometimes where it's not about us. It's about them because we
Yes.
signed up for this class. And I really love the honesty and transparency of that conversation. And now to marry that into an accreditation where there's regulation and there's systems and there's, just even a pathway they can follow that create results is so good.
For me, it's the dream. When you commented on my post from this weekend about when we were together, it was the inaugural founding
So good.
cohort, able to just be there with those women, kick this off. And you said, this is pure joy.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's it. And I think that's what coaching is,
It is.
right? When you get to help see the best in someone, that's the magic of it all.
It's like you tied this conversation up with a bow right there, because I believe that's what it gets to feel like. And whether it's coaching or another business, whatever your mission is and how you're contributing to the world, it's that you wake up most days, not all days, because that's naive, but most days filled with joy, purpose, excitement, contribution, vision. And you've really taught us that today. So thank you for that. Where can they go sign up and be your next cohort? Share with them that, and where they can hang out and just even explore you, because you're just such a dynamic, gorgeous woman. So I want them to be in your space regardless.
I appreciate that. So you can find us on luminalegacy.org. So all the information is up on that website. We also are on Instagram. We are going to be starting a Legacy Live podcast, which is very
Ooh.
exciting. So that's very fun. So you'll be able to find us there. We'll be doing YouTube and live as well, which is great. I really want to make that kind of that coach education, leadership, a really cool channel for people to come and just also have guests and, of course, Jen. And that will be really exciting. So that's coming. So Legacy Live. I do have our Fitz Life Unfiltered podcast. We've retired it. It was a podcast I built with my husband and I. It was beautiful. We've got about 150 episodes. So that's a really cool throwback to be able to learn a little bit more about our story and our methodologies and our visions. And also you can find me on fitzlife.ca.
Yes.
Yeah.
Run and hang out with Kim. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Jen.
you for being the lighthouse, the beacon. And thank you for not just thinking about something, but actually bringing it to life and putting that work ethic, sweat equity into it. I know what it takes. And I can only imagine an 800-page manual. Like we have to just imagine what that took, the care, the consideration. Thank you for building this. And thank you for making the industry a better place.
Thank you, Jen.